Hi, welcome to episode 129 of Fresh Air at 5. In this episode, you're going to hear something talking about bold humility, as well as bold gratitude. We listen to Lainey Rowell talk. I hear Che and Pav talk. I listen to also Teachers on Fire. So without further ado, here's episode 129, Fresh Air at 5.
I'm Christy Hemingway, host of Ed Curation, a part of the Education Podcast Network, just like the show you're listening to now. Shows on the network are individually owned, and opinions expressed may not reflect others. Find other interesting education podcasts at edupodcastnetwork.com.
Welcome to Fresh Air at 5, the podcast. I'm your host, Brian Carpenter. Fresh Air at 5 is my regular attempt to exercise by walking about my neighborhood to take in podcast content, then reflect in an unedited video, which I finally post to my Twitter channel. This podcast will be a regular collection of the audio from these selfie videos. You can follow me on Twitter at FreshAirAt5 or check out my website, briancarpenter.com, for other content I have created and collected. Hey, PLN Monday, July 10, 2023. Good morning to you. Happy Monday. And it is a beautiful day here where I am. We got blue sky all around and the sun is shining. The smoke has dissipated from the forest fires up country and other places, and it's a beautiful day. All right, this morning as I'm out walking, I listened to the Tom Schimmer show, and I forgot to catch the episode number. I'll get that in a moment. But Tom has gone back to bi-weekly podcasts, so we don't have to keep up every week, Tom. I find that the weekly podcast is a lot to keep up with as far as listening when I listen to so many podcasts. But I appreciate your podcasting that you do. I appreciate the effort that you put in. And as you're sitting in the Sky Lounge on your way somewhere, or you're editing, I saw pictures of that on social last night and yesterday. And so thank you so much for bringing us this episode that you recently edited and published. All right, in the first segment, you usually have a Don't At Me segment. He's changing the format. You're changing it to a mindful minute and about mindfulness and about positivity. And I like that. I like the Don't At Me. I really like what you had to say in your monologues about different things. But this is a great opportunity for us to think positively and think about ourselves and how we get from here to there and being successful. All right. As you move along, you have an interview. That interview is with Julie Schmidt-Hansen, who's the author of Pause, Ponder, and Persist in the Classroom: How Teachers Turn Challenges into Opportunities for Impact. And so I'll carry on in the next segment. So hang on. One more thing for July 10, 2023, listening to the Tom Schimmer Show, episode 105. I found out what episode it was, Tom. You have an interview, and that's where I'm going to carry on here. You interviewed Julie Schmidt-Hansen, who's the author of a book called Pause, Ponder, and Persist in the Classroom: How Teachers Turn Challenges into Opportunities for Impact. And it was great to hear you talk with Julie about how she has observed over her career of doing academics and all things about student behavior and about how students make it through their spaces. Making assumptions without the information leads to bad choices and bad decisions that affect students negatively and have an impact. All right, and in the final, you talk about assessment and how assessment is important that we look at and do some summer learning. Summer learning is so important. That's what I do while I listen to podcasts in the summer, but maybe having some more focused attention to assessment practices and bolstering our understanding of assessment so that we can more effectively use this as a tool for learning for students. All right, that's all I got. Have a fabulous day. Hopefully this isn't over 2 minutes and 20 seconds. Otherwise, it'll be 2 pieces. Peace out. Bye-bye. Hey, PLN, July 12, 2023. It's Wednesday this week, and it's sunny, and I'm out for my walk. Yesterday, I slept in. I was tired. Did too much on Monday. So, anyhow, here I am today and walking, and I listened to Check This Out, episode 156 with Brian and Ryan, and I know why I connect so well with these two guys is because one of my best friends, his name is Ryan. And so we got Brian and Ryan here in Canada, Moose Jaw, Canada boys, and we got Brian and Ryan in California. So that's the connection. My friend Ryan fly fishes with me, and we do construction projects and all kinds of fun, crazy stuff like that, and we play together. And so that sounds like Brian and Ryan in California. Okay, that's a divergence. That's a rabbit trail that I just went down. In this episode 156, check this out. They talk with Brent Warner, who's going on a journey. And the episode is Brent's Blue Balker bonus episode. And they talk about a whole bunch of things in here. And Brent Warner, it's good to hear from you again, and excited about your journey that you're going on to Japan to write a book for your sabbatical. That's pretty cool. They talk about AI and AI everywhere and all kinds of things AI and things to try out and check out. And so I got a lot of things out of this episode to go and check out, and also, some listens to do. So things for Brent to listen to and pay attention to while he's on his trip. And that's the same goes for us. We can take a look at some of these things as we are going through our days. Yes, excited and happy to hear this episode of Check This Out. They haven't produced since back before Spring Q. And speaking of which, boys, I'm working on coming to Spring Q. I know I've said that to Isti, said that about a couple things, but I'm actually this year really intent on coming to Spring Q. So I'm saying it right here, and I'm going to see you guys in the spring in Palm Springs. All right, without further ado, I got to go inside. Have a great day. Okay, bye-bye. Hey, PLN, July 13, 2023. Good morning to you. Out for Fresh Start 5 today, and it is 13 degrees Celsius. A little bit cloudy a bit, but still very beautiful out and not raining. So we've been in a dry spot here in British Columbia for a little bit, which affects forest fires and things like that. But honestly, I'm not going to lie. I'm thankful for the dry weather. We have to just be mindful about our water, things like that. But overall, it's just really, really nice. All right, this morning I listened to a bonus episode of Evolving with Gratitude. Guys, Lainey brings us a really short, quick episode as she is in Hawaii right now. And today she is going to be keynoting at a conference talking about bold gratitude and evolving with gratitude and the practice of gratitude and the importance of it in our lives. And so, you know what, Lainey, I'm so thankful to hear that you're out sharing the message. This is what you do, and so awesome and good to hear that. This morning, as I was listening to your podcast, you brought us greetings, and then you brought us a meditation called Meditation with a Spark. And it is a quick meditation, and you asked me to be sitting, but I'm not sitting. I proceeded to meditate as I was walking down the street here, and fortunately it was downhill, so I didn't have to put so much energy into it. But yes, it's so important as we, think about gratitude in our day that we hang on to the goodness and the positivity. All right, that's all I got for right now. I think I've got another Lainey episode to listen to on a different podcast, so I'll be right back in a few minutes. Bye-bye. One more thing for July 13, 2023 on the Innovators Mindset podcast. We have the special guest, Lainey Rowell, who's talking with George Koros about the opportunity that she had to write a book that was published by Impress, which is George's Innovators Mindset publishing company. And Evolving with Gratitude was published by George as well. So thanks, George and Paige, for stepping out and giving Lainey a shot, because that's fantastic. Lainey, I'm not sure if I ordered Evolving with Gratitude yet, so I better get that. And then my copy of Bold Gratitude should be on its way soon. And I'm excited about this opportunity to journal in a different way, not a prescribed, every page has got to be the same way. And I'm looking forward to that. You talked with George about the backstory, like you did with Allison on your own podcast last week, which was so good to hear. So people, take a listen to this conversation that George and Lainey have about bold gratitude. The journal for you, written by you. It's for you and by you. And I think it's a French title. It's De Journal. So I really like that, George. That's hilarious. That's awesome. It was great to hear you guys having fun and reflecting on the importance of gratitude, because gratitude makes such a difference in our lives. I'm working with my kids, and just that simple thank you, how does that change the activity that we're engaged in? If there is, even just it's sometimes a token thankfulness, but other times it's not. It's a legitimate thankfulness. And trying to get to that legit thankfulness and gratitude makes a difference in the happiness chemicals, people around you, and also in the world, because we're practicing those things ourselves, and it spreads. All right, get your copy of Bold Gratitude by Lainey Rowell and Allison Liu. And thanks, George, for having this conversation with Lainey. Peace out. Bye-bye. The last thing for July 13, 2023, I just listened to episode 217 of Lasting Learning Podcast with Dave Schmittou, as he is reading chapter 3 of Bold Humility. In this chapter, Dave talks about authenticity of the adults in the room as we work with students and have expectations. Talks about authenticity of expectations of leaders with their followers, the principals with their staff. What do we expect of our staff compared to what do we teachers expect of our students, and how there can be an imbalance and hypocrisy there and oxymoronic behavior. Take a listen to this audiobook. I'm chapter 3 in already, and so excited about the learning that I'm doing. Thanks, Dave, for sharing this with us. It's not going to be around forever. Make sure you jump in to Lasting Learning Podcast, episode 214, to get started with the introduction and forward, and then work through the rest of the chapters that Dave is so kindly publishing as an audiobook on his podcast. All right, happy day, Dave. Enjoy the sunshine, time with your family. Peace. Bye. Hey, PLN, happy July 14, 2023. It's Friday again, and it's a beautiful day here. Got some jobs going on at home, doing some painting on the back deck, getting ready for my relatives coming next week. And so little things like that going on at home while I'm still, teaching summer session and working with students on their chemistry 11 and 12 during the day. So got things going on, still working a little bit, and but enjoying the summer, enjoying the time that I have. The days are nicer, and we have air conditioning now, so that actually makes it a whole lot more bearable in the heat. We can have a place to escape to. All right, this morning I listened to episode 127 of the Che and Pav show, and Che and Pav talked today about anti-black racism, dismantling that with Judy McCunion. And she is a black lady who has a role in the education system. And I missed where that was, Judy, but you talk about how you are working with classrooms and school boards, and you're a high school English teacher previous, and now you are in a more of a resource role. And it's so important that we have people like you in our districts that can provide some insight and some background. As the whole racism, talk goes on here in Canada, here in British Columbia, we have a lot to do with Indigenous education, and this has been a big, infusion recently since the past, number of years. But it's so important that we acknowledge those that are in our communities and those that are in our classrooms. And Indigenous education is a doorway to having conversations about anti-racism in general, and how we care for one another, and we need to be kind and, do this work together as a community. So thank you so much. It's a challenging conversation, and I don't want it to be an add-on. I want it to be part of what I do, but it's hard to not make it an add-on, even for this guy of multi-generational races. No, not racism, but different races. All right, thanks. That's all I got for today. Okay, bye-bye. The last thing for this Friday, July 14, 2023, I just listened to an episode of Teachers on Fire that Tim dropped, and Tim It's good to hear that you are excited about creating. Again, it's called what happens when you're creative. Okay, I can't remember what it's called, but it's his most recent episode of Teachers on Fire. It was a video on his YouTube channel, and the audio I heard this morning, it's about 7 minutes long, and Tim talks about how being a creative and then not creating over a period of time because of pressures and stresses and things like that, it really affects us as people. And I believe that I'm a creative as well. And my area of passion, one of them is fishing and getting out to go fly fishing specifically. And how I notice that when I'm not focused on that I notice that the stresses are going up. We have our jobs to do, we have our positions and our professions, but how's our passion connected to all of that? That's why Fresh Air at 5 started. That's why it got going. And you can go and possibly see my story on briancarpenter.com. Hey Tim, it's great to hear your voice, hear you excited, and I am so excited actually that next week on Tuesday we are going to get together with some other podcasters in Vancouver for dinner and get together and sit and chat. Looking forward to meeting face to face Pav Wander, and we got Tim Stevenson, Lauren McLean, probably Tom Schimmer, yourself, and me. And it's going to be fantastic to be able to connect. All right, keep that fire going, light it up if it hasn't been lit, and go make something today. Go make something. I've been making stuff, and it's been really good. I've enjoyed working in my garage with my tools, and getting injured in the process, not intentionally, but it happens because I'm pushing the envelope. All right, that's all I got. Peace, bye. Hey, PLN, it's the very last thing for Friday, July 14, 2023. I'm out here painting this trim around on the back deck here. And while I was here, I got my speaker out and I listened to My EdTech Life episode 212 as Fonz talks with Scott and Clark from Alongside. So Alongside is a mental health support chatbot application that can be used by students in classrooms and schools and connects with the counselors at those schools. It is a school-based or district-level subscription, and students within those spaces can chat with the llama, and you should go check out their website, alongside.com, I believe. And if not, go to the show notes for My EdTech Life episode 212, as Fonz will have definitely more details there. So Scott and Clark, I appreciate you guys sharing what you're doing for mental health awareness and support for our students, and how we can have an app like Alongside at our ready, and students can have it at their ready in their browsers even, so that they, while they're in school, in classrooms, they can chat with, the llama and maybe get some insights in how to deal with whatever's going on, anxiety, sadness, bullying or other things like that. And then there's support that can be gathered and garnered beyond that because of the connections with trusted adults in their educational space. All right. Thank you. It was fantastic, gentlemen. I appreciate that, and I appreciate being part of the live chat in the podcast. So check out episode 212. It'll be coming out probably in the next couple of days or so, but I just wanted to shout out Fonz, Scott, and Clark. Peace. Bye. As my one word for 2021 is appreciate, I appreciate you giving me a listen as I've created this podcast experience for you. It's a unique Blinkist or Coles Notes version of the content I take in, like a highlight reel, so that you can hopefully find other interesting podcasts you may not have considered before. I've recorded the specific podcast episodes in the show notes for your learning convenience. Please subscribe so you don't miss any of my upcoming episodes. And if you enjoyed this podcast and its format, share it with someone else. Tweet about your experience or give it a review on Apple Podcast or wherever you listen to podcasts. Fresh Air at 5 can also be found on Voice Ed Radio. Your voice is right here, and on the Education Podcast Network, podcasts for educators, podcasts by educators. I hope you have a fantastic day and get some fresh air before the day is out, and take care of yourself because you're worth it.